Welcome to South Bay Christian Fellowship. Today we're going to continue our study on Romans. If you're new with us, please consider subscribing. We have a lot of content that you might want to view. The last time we were together, there were three principles that I want you to remember. The first was that we needed to do the things that make for peace. When we're trying to approach the resolution of any kind of a difficulty, whether it's in the home, in society, at work, wherever we might be, the first thing that we need to understand is we're not going to solve a problem by generating anger or some other negative emotion. So we have to do the thing that makes for peace. The second thing we need to do is remember that whatever we choose to do should be done with the idea of building the people that are involved up, not tearing them down. It is important that we always look to improve the lives of everybody involved, including ourselves. The third idea is that it was not necessary for us, in order to achieve what we perceived as good, to tear down anything else in the process that was also good. An example of that, so you understand what I'm saying, is what happens in the streets. We have peaceful protesters that are out there exercising their First Amendment rights. They're able to be out there and do what they're doing. But we also have people that are out there tearing down structures in cities, attacking people, burning out businesses, and doing that kind of thing. There's no need for a point to be proved for that damage to be done. That is divisive and harmful. So God doesn't want us to be divisive and harmful when we're trying to resolve issues, whether we're trying to do that in His house or our house. Now, I'm going to start reading with verse 22. And verse 22 says the following. It says, "The faith which you have as your own conviction before God." You know, when you're going to try to solve a problem, it helps if you're well-grounded and know what you believe and also what your goal is. It isn't wise to go into a problem-solving mode when you don't understand things fully or you don't know where you want to head with things. So the first thing that is required is intellectual honesty, a real rational examination of the situation. And that means we have to put effort into things. And we have to not only understand our side, but what the goals of the other people involved are as well, so that we have hope of making some sort of an agreement that will be pleasing to all. As we go on with verse 22, it then says, "Happy is he who does not condemn himself in what he approves." The second half of that verse is, "Happy is he who does not condemn himself in what he approves." The sense of that is that very often when we're trying to accomplish something and we want to get a little extra juice in the deal, we'll be quiet about other things that we want to have happen as well. And normally we're quiet about those things either because we're trying to take unfair advantage or we're trying to slip the wool over someone else's eyes and have something happen that they don't realize will happen as a result of what they agree to. In those cases, we guarantee that they'll have a bad taste in their mouth when it happens, and that the term of our resolution will be short-term rather than long-term. See, when we solve a problem, we don't want to just adjust it for a period of time. We want to get rid of it. So the idea is to come up with a long-term solution. We should never try to have a hidden agenda or other motives behind the actions we take. If you want to know what a mess that can make, just look at our government today. Look at the Congress. Laughable, unproductive. Why? Because instead of just dealing with the real issues at hand, they want to take a bill and attach rider after rider after rider after rider that reflects their special interest and gives them political advantage, instead of them doing their actual job, which is to serve the people. After all, they do represent us, or at least I think they do. Going on, verse 23 says, "But he who doubts," now this would be someone who is going to take an action, but really doesn't think it's the right thing to do, but does it anyway. Listen. "But he who doubts is condemned if he eats." You know, now in the context of the chapter, it's talking about some people believing it's okay to eat some things and other people believing it's okay to eat everything. But it's saying here that if the person who thinks it's wrong to eat goes ahead and eats, that's an issue. And that goes to the idea of us tearing down our own conscience and our own spirit because we're willingly going against what we believe to be right in order to achieve some goal. And we should never do that. That causes the process to fall apart, and it also makes us condemnable in the eyes of others. So it says, but he who does that is condemned if he eats, because he is eating not from faith. He's not doing what he's doing because he's convicted about it, because he really believes it, because it was part of his original solution for everybody and was going to benefit everybody. But instead he's doing it for some other motive. And the motive is so bad that it doesn't even fit in with what he thinks is right. So the statement is that kind of action is not from faith for a Christian. It is not from a good place for someone who's not a Christian. And the statement is made for a Christian anyway, that whatever is not from faith is sin. And let me say it to you this way. Whatever it is you do that is not right, that you really believe to be wrong, if you claim to be helping solve an issue, is not only going to make you condemnable, but it'll be rendered to you as having done the absolute wrong thing. And there'll be penalty attached to that. So rather than putting yourself in a position, or rather than us putting ourselves in a position that is weak and tenuous and fraught with problems, full of mines like a minefield, we should simply stick to a well-reasoned, truthful, and honest approach to things that will actually solve the difficulties we face together. Not look at each other and blame each other for what exists, but purpose in our hearts to look at each other with love and comprehension and figure out how we can remove the issue together and move forward as one. Remember, don't believe this because I've said it. Believe it because you've read it. God bless you.